Hello guys, and welcome to our Shaolin Talks. Today we have a fantastic subject to be exploring with you guys. As you know, this month, or some of you might know that this month is all about culture, and we thought that it would be pretty interesting to explore some English culture with you guys. So my name is Martine, just in case you guys didn't know. We have
Janine.
And we also have the amazing
Steve.
So this is a very dear friend of mine, Steve. He's come all the way from Dorset, from Bournemouth, and he has come to join us to chat about all things English culture, because when I thought about someone English in my mind, Steve came to mind. We met during roller derby.
Yes, we met playing roller derby and training together.
Yeah, so it was awesome, and I thought he would be brilliant. He's very educated in these areas, and he's going to tell us all about English culture. So we thought it would be really great to explain a little bit about English history to you. It's extremely brief because, as you know, English history has a very long and vast culture. So I'm going to start with a little bit of facts. I didn't know whether you guys knew or not, or whether you guys knew out there that England was inhabited more than 800,000 years ago.
That's pretty long.
That's a pretty long time.
It's a lot of history.
That is a lot of history. And the earliest evidence of the early modern humans is 41,000 to 44,000 years ago. And actually the first discovery is your neck of the woods.
Oh.
Yeah,
There's a lot of bones in Dorset.
There is a lot of bones. There is a lot of old bones.
There is.
There's a lot of old bones in Dorset. So, and in Devon was discovered actually a jawbone from that time. So, and quite a lot has happened in English culture since then, in English history. It's quite a lot's happened.
Yes. We've been a warring nation.
Yeah, we've been a warring nation.
All of the years.
Yeah, and lots of things have gone on, but we're not going to discuss that now.
You're not discussing all your invasions.
We're not discussing.
We've had a lot of
You,
invasions.
Janine.
They're mostly embarrassing.
We're not
modern day PC world.
We're not going to discuss all of those today, but what we are going to look at is, well, actually, is that England is very diverse in many ways. We have lots of influences from Northern, Eastern, Southern Europe. But what we are going to look at today, which I thought would be quite fun, is looking at what are the top 10 things that make somebody or someone quintessential English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've done a little bit of exploration in this, and we've asked a lot of people about what they think, and being English. Would you say you're English? Would you?
Well, I was born in England, so I've got to say yes. I've lived in other countries, and I've always called myself English.
Yeah.
I've been an Englishman in everywhere I've lived, so yeah.
So we could kind of comment on this a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So number one, the top 10 quintessential English. The number one was actually quite interesting. I actually don't do this quite a lot. Maybe once in a blue moon, but apparently eating a roast dinner is very English.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, you think that's English?
Yeah, I think that's English.
Why?
Well, I've been to many roast dinners.
Have you?
Yeah.
How many have you been?
I don't know, many, I can't count.
Mine would be countless. Growing up, a Sunday roast was always part of the family. Sunday, as a kid, we would have a roast dinner mid-afternoon maybe, and a crumpet at tea time, and then a bath. The bath was never popular. Something I grew into in later life. But certainly, and you know, I thank my parents for teaching me to cook. I love cooking a roast. Even if we're absolutely, I'm a brilliant cook. Yeah,
whoa,
this doesn't come from nowhere, and it's all paid for. But wherever we are, whether we be on holiday, if we're self-catering, if it was a Sunday, we would cook a roast.
Definitely cook a roast.
Yeah, even if there's something simple as a roast chicken, and potatoes, but and then that you extrapolate that out to Christmas Day, which is essentially a mega roast. I enjoy cooking on Christmas Day on the times I've done it, and I enjoy eating Christmas.
So what constitutes a roast dinner? You got to have.
I think you've got to have the potatoes.
Potatoes.
The potatoes.
I think it's the best part of a roast dinner.
Gravy. Veg.
Veg.
Yeah.
Sprouts.
Sprouts, definitely sprouts.
Definitely sprouts.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Some form of meat.
Some form of meat. Yeah, it could be like chicken.
Yeah, chicken, pork,
beef. You can even have vegetarian, can you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, veggies and nut roast. Normally, when I was vegetarian, it was like always nut roast.
Nut roast. I'm sorry, but it doesn't sound that appetizing.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. Nowadays you get much more variety, but back then it was only nut roast. We only had nut roast, which is more sad times.
Well, I mean, you look at we've got carvery restaurants which specialise 7 days a week in giving you a roast dinner. I mean, it's quite a horrific thing, really, when you see the queues of English people queuing up to get their £7.95's worth of roast dinner.
Yeah, well, we're gonna come to that bit in a minute. That's one of our list of things. So, on our second, apparently our second most quintessential English thing is a good old fashioned cup of tea. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, seriously, a cup of tea.
Yeah,
you can't start the day without a cup of tea.
No.
Definitely not.
First thing is the kettle on every single morning. Cup of tea. I probably do at least 10 cups of tea throughout the day. So much so we have to regularly bleach the cups because there's staining. Sorry, it's an embarrassing fact of life in Britain that the white inside of your cups will be brown in no time whatsoever. I really do enjoy a cup of tea. The only thing that can spoil a cup of tea at the moment is the mad variety of milk there is out there. I'm very, very basic in my milk requirements. Generally, it requires a cow stood up and some kind of milking apparatus under the cow. But I've never seen nipples on an almond or an oat. So it does worry me that people are putting these alternatives into their tea. Basically, I had the experience of this firsthand 2 weeks ago with oat milk.
Oat milk?
Yeah.
Do you not like oat milk?
I'd love it on porridge. It's nice and sweet, but not in tea.
It doesn't taste right, does it?
No, it turns everything to the taste of cardboard.
I know. It's I found something though that actually could be rice milk's actually quite nice. It's quite sweet.
Okay,
so that's quite a good alternative.
I don't think I've had that one forced on me in my day-to-day travels. People generally, as a travelling workman, people in Britain offer you a cup of tea wherever you go.
Do.
Hence, I can easily knock out 10 cups of tea a day. So I get offered tea all day long. So generally the conversation goes, would you like a cup of tea? I say yes, and then somebody sheepishly goes, but we've only got almond milk.
And you just shoot.
And at that point, my heart dies a little bit of me falls away, and I do say, or worse still, they'll get the tea caddy down and say, we've only got Earl Grey.
Yeah. Steve, I love Earl Grey.
I'm not a fan of the fancy pants teas. I'm a very basic man with my tea requirements.
I do love Builder's tea.
Builder's tea, yeah.
Builder's
got to
tea,
be able to stand a spoon in it.
And exactly, stand a spoon in it. And do you take sugar?
No, never have done.
No?
No.
Oh. Do you take
Yeah.
sugar
One sugar, yes.
One sugar in your tea?
And milk, yeah.
And milk?
Milk.
Oh, I like
Proper
tea.
milk, yeah. Not one of these fancy, no.
Yeah. I mean,
Proper milk.
Yeah. It's got to be milk from a cow. It's traditional. When we talked about how long England's been around. It's been around a long time. We've had cows all of this time, so there's no need for the almond.
I think other people might beg to differ.
Keep it to themselves.
I like my tea really, really strong. Yeah, like you just
steaming hot.
Splash, like really hot, and like just splash the milk in, like you can barely like.
I've got a friend who constantly microwaves it every 2 minutes. Yeah.
Oh no.
Microwaves tea.
It was her who gave me the oat milk, to be fair.
Oh right, okay, fair enough. Shall we move on?
Yeah, probably. And she's roller derby related. Yeah, strangeness all round.
But we got
What sort of tea you guys are drinking?
So I would be any of the any of the English blends. So Yorkshire tea, PG tips, Tetley tea. Like I say, the fancy ones. My other half drinks licorice tea and green tea and flavoured tea, but they're all drunk black. I did have a long stint of drinking black tea to try and cut milk out of my diet, but it just made the cup situation so much worse. It really did.
Yeah, I like PG tips and Tetley. A Yorkshire tea is great, and all different types of tea. And I like Earl Grey now and again when I'm feeling a bit posh.
Does your finger come up?
Yeah, like that.
Small sandwiches cut into rectangles.
Very small. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so let's move on to our third quintessential English. So apparently English people like to talk about the weather.
Yeah, because it's always raining, isn't it?
It's always raining. Do you talk about the weather a lot?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I talk about the weather. I like the English weather for the most part. I think our summer is fantastic. I think 23 degrees in England is worth the world.
But it's so short. And then the sun comes out for like a moment, and then everyone's like, "Yay, let's put our shorts on, bikini on for like a minute, flip flops, and then it's gone."
Again, I rebel against this. So
you don't put your bikini
April, the shorts go on regardless.
Oh really?
Yeah, and sometime in October they'll come off.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's done by date, not by the weather, because I'm an Englishman. I can take the weather. I do go into people's houses sopping wet sometimes, but wearing my shorts. But,
I think generally the reason why I would say English people talk about the weather so much, it's kind of like a icebreaker. You know, it's like, "Hi, how are you doing? Oh, isn't the weather awful today?" You know, it's kind of like an icebreaker, isn't it? It's like nothing else to talk about.
I think you're probably right there. Living for a few years in Australia, as soon as people found out you were English, they immediately spoke about the weather. And because I lived in Melbourne, everybody had exactly the same fact. We live in Melbourne. We have 4 seasons in one day. Everybody had exactly the same fact about Melbourne. But yeah, again, it is talking about the weather. When it's probably needless.
It's needless.
We can see the weather.
Exactly, we know. It's definitely I think it's a polite thing. What do you think, Janine?
I think so too. It's just a conversation starter.
It's a conversation starter. What's your favourite weather?
The 23 degrees in Britain. That for me is, we get so little wind when we get the sunshine come out. I like the stillness. I like the stillness in the night. I like to sit out and watch the stars at night. Yeah. Maybe have a little beverage while I'm there.
So I think apparently our number 4 fact is that English dishes, the main English dish that when people think about English food, they think about fish and chips.
Yeah.
Fish and chips. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, definitely yes. I think to dispel the myth, fish and chips were brought to England after the Second World War by Polish immigrants. The men cooked fish and chips. It's a Polish-Jewish dish. And it's caught on very well, obviously, and tourism hooks onto that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right,
you know, same as we might assume that all Scandinavian people eat meatballs because we get it at IKEA. But it's that kind of very loose relationship. And I'm sure there's a lot of Scandinavian people out there who dislike meatballs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So fish and chips. Have you had fish and chips?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah, I do.
I think it's hard to get a bad fish and chips.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur. I actually like all of them. Yeah, people do say go to this chip shop, that chip shop is better, but I've never had a bad one. I like them all.
We had some friends come over from China who had fish and chips. They never had fish and chips ever. It's their first experience of fish and chips, and they literally threw up everywhere.
Well, it's a much different
consistency. They just threw up. Yeah,
it's a much different consistency, isn't it?
Very greasy and oily. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I visited Japan and everything's made with a broth, and I struggled to feel like I had any nutrients throughout the day. you eat a fish and chips, you know you've had it.
Yeah, you literally know you've had it for about 4 weeks after.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd get a good repeat on £12 worth of fish and chips. It's value.
It's valued, yeah. Okay, and something else that came up when we were doing our research about what it is to be English or quintessential English is apparently, and you said this earlier, apparently we love to form a queue.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, queuing is it's politeness.
I think we do,
It's a form of etiquette.
That's right, we love forming
And
queues.
I think there's a lot of British people that are meek and mild, but should you mistakenly cross a queue even, they will speak up and speak out.
They will cut you.
I've definitely been very brazen in queuing scenarios, especially around Christmas and so on, where somebody is pushed in front, or the worst one is Costco's, where somebody says, "Can my sister just join on the back of my trolley with her whole trolley of food as well?" How does no take you?
Yeah, I know. We do love to. What's the longest you've ever queued for in England?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, how long have you queued?
I know I just jumped the queue. I just once.
You were a queue jumper?
Yeah, I was a queue jumper.
You don't queue in Germany, do you?
No,
you
don't.
barter to the front and shout the loudest.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's quite scary. Seeing that for the first time.
I accidentally jumped the queue, so it wasn't on purpose, you know.
Right.
So yeah,
what happened?
It's like I went to a bookshop and I went there to have my book signed by an author.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the queue, so I was already in the bookshop waiting for the event to happen.
Yeah.
And then I basically, once I saw the lady's there to sign my book, I basically just went in, and then later on I saw like outside it was this massive queue.
Yeah.
And they all looked at me funny, and I was like, oh, and it was just like in and out.
I think the only place this doesn't apply is when an Englishman's driving.
Yeah, exactly.
Because an Englishman will do anything to get around a queue, and it doesn't matter who he upsets and by how little he can scrape past your car.
Exactly.
They will do it. Again, it's inbred into us.
It is. It's a cultural thing. It's a queuing culture.
It comes back, and maybe it's a bit manly to know exactly the width of your car down to a hair's breadth. I think men do like to know that. Go, I'll get through that.
Yeah, easy. Why can't you get through that?
Yeah.
You can get a barge through that. You can get a tank through that. It's like this much. Oh, okay. So we definitely like to form a queue. So another thing is apparently we're always saying sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it when I find. Yeah, I do it all the time.
I do it.
And
even when it's not your fault.
That's the one that I hate.
Sorry.
You know,
Someone steps on your foot.
Somebody walks into you and you say sorry.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I just spilt water all down myself. Sorry.
I don't know where that comes from.
I don't know. I think it's ultra politeness, isn't it?
It's too polite, and
it's way too polite.
Again, when you're in the company of different cultures and that, it must seem very, very bizarre to always take the back foot. It's almost a sign of weakness.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
What do you think about that, Janine?
I found it strange. When I first came to England, it was really, really strange. What
did you think?
It was weird. It's just weird.
It's weird.
You just don't. You go like, oh, yeah.
Sorry, guys. We're going to the pub now. Sorry. So this is our next one is number 7 is going to the pub.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's
English thing to do. Go to the pub.
It's a coming of age thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think most people from the age of, say, 18, shall we?
Yeah, let's say 18. Let's say 18.
Go go straight out and go to the pub, because you can. You could. The 2 years before that, you could have had a provisional driving licence. You could have died for your country in the army. But now you can have a pint of beer legally in a pub, and people go out. He's very British, and pubs have changed so much over the last 20, 30 years as well. Now all pubs serve food and seem to make their business off of food. 20, 30 years ago, pubs all had gardens with parks for children in, and then 30
they were like
years.
inns, weren't they? They were like taverns. Like you would go to a pub, and that would be if you were travelling from one village to the next, and then you would use a pub as a place that you would stay at. You know, like a tavern. And
I mean. The definition of a pub has definitely changed, and there's so few of them now. They tend to struggle to make a living, unfortunately.
Well, pub. I don't know whether you've been to a pub. Have you been to a pub recently?
Yes.
Yeah, it's weird. Isn't it so weird?
There's no atmosphere.
There's no atmosphere.
It'd be like going to a rock concert and somebody turning up a tiny little speaker and putting it on a stage. It really is. It takes all of the nice bits out of it.
It's so weird. Everything is sectioned off, and that's not the idea of a pub. A pub is kind of like where you go there and you're socialising, and it's very loud.
You go
boisterous.
You go to pub quiz.
Oh yes, pub quiz.
Pub quizzes, yeah.
Pub quiz. I don't know whether any of you guys out there have been to pub quizzes, but they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean the virtual pub quiz. It's not as great.
It's not
is
the
it?
same.
It's not the same.
Corona's spoilt that for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not the same. Yeah. So the pub is definitely a very English thing to do, and along with another English thing to do is bingo. Apparently, bingo is very English.
I associate it with much older people, but my partner will kill me for this because she adores bingo, and she will gladly go with anybody who puts a hand up and says, I've got the slightest interest in dabbing a book, and it has to be a book with her. So recently they've come out with these electronic tables, and it's all done on a press screen. That doesn't cut it. She wants to buy a physical book or strip of paperwork
and dab it with that
stabbing would be more appropriate what she does. But
I don't know whether you know. I don't know whether you out there know actually the game of bingo, but it basically consists of lots of people sitting around with the little books of numbers, and then there's a tumbler at the front, and I don't know what the person who's called
bingo caller.
The bingo caller randomly picks out a number. And then if you have the number, you have all the numbers together. Then you shout at the top of your voice, "Bingo!" You stand up and you win a lot of money. Yeah. This is the principle.
Essentially.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And it's quite fun because
you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to do anything.
That's what they like. That's why the older generation like it so much. I think it was something that was introduced to them. In the 1960s, when you had holiday camps like Butlins and that appearing, Billy Butlins, and it was a form of entertainment that was cheap, but also made one person's holiday awesome because they might win £10, which would mean a new car back in the 1960s.
Yeah, exactly.
But so that's why I think generationally it's a lot of older people. Yeah. But I do catch my other half sat there with an iPad playing bingo in our front room.
I remember my nan used to always take me to bingo. My nan and granddad always take me to bingo, and I would love it.
So what was your favourite thing at the bingo place?
My favourite thing at the bingo place was calling out the numbers after the numbers called. So basically, if you got something like 66, you'd have to shout out. No, if you got something like 88, you'd have to shout out 2 fat ladies. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Seriously, you don't know this.
88, 2 fat ladies.
2 fat ladies. Like this, just scream at the top of your voice. Or
11, legs 11,
and then you have to whistle.
25, 2 little duckies.
2 little ducks, and then you have whack whack. You have to make this.
Yeah, that's right. It's the return banter. It is. You're quite right.
I loved it. And then knock at the door. Number 4. Yeah.
Maggie Factory number 10.
Maggie Factory number 10. Yeah. So these are all basically they'd call out these numbers, and then you'd have a lot
of slang associated with the numbers 1 to 100, basically. no meaning whatsoever.
Exactly. Brilliant. Loved it. Yeah. So that's bingo. That's bingo for you. Number 9. We're nearly towards the end now, but we've got number 9. And I have to say, this is my absolute favourite. I cannot go without this on a daily basis. And that is a full English breakfast.
Full English breakfast.
So what is a full English breakfast? What has to be in there?
Toast. Definitely, if you're a meat eater, a sausage.
Sausage.
Definitely
sausage.
Hopefully a nice one, a Cumberland or something.
Yeah, or veggie.
Or veggie.
Can have a veggie sausage.
You can have a bean sausage if you would prefer. Other alternatives of soy are available. Check Google.
Sausage. Yeah, sausage, bacon.
Bacon, for sure.
Eggs. Oh, you got to have eggs.
Got to have eggs. But I'm
Eggs.
going to throw in a controversial one.
All right, go on then.
Black pudding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's no vegetarian alternative to that, unfortunately. But, black pudding. Between that and haggis, it's awesome. But
yeah. Oh my God. And baked beans.
Yeah, but if you go in
mushrooms.
So if you go into a cafe, certainly lower establishments that builders etc. might frequent. You're often going to get offered chips for your breakfast.
Chips?
Yeah, I've only ever done it a handful of times.
A handful of times a week.
It seems a step too far even for me, and that's hard to believe. Yeah, but chips on your breakfast.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That sounds like the best breakfast ever.
I have actually partaken in a gut buster breakfast.
What's that then?
It's one of these huge plates that they load up with 2 kilos worth of carbs and meat. I failed. It was an overconfidence thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I reckon I could.
Yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah, I don't stretch that far.
I love English breakfast. It's just brilliant. It's
a good way. I mean, it's a good way to start the day. I mean, I couldn't imagine ordering pancakes for breakfast and drizzling maple syrup over them. That's not a breakfast.
And if you go to go to a hotel or whatever, or you're staying somewhere, and they give you continental yogurt, pancakes, or full English, what are you going to do?
Well, for the first 2 days, I do behave myself and go continental.
And have a croissant.
I soon wane. I've just got no staying power.
Brilliant.
I mean, I do try to behave myself, but the English breakfast, it would always win.
It will always win. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Why is the English breakfast so important?
Why is it so? Again, it's a rite of passage. I think when you start work and you go out with other tradesmen and that, and often the breakfast is the start of the day. So everybody might meet at a cafe and have a breakfast before anybody goes to work and starts their day. So it's a social thing. Get together. Everyone's had 2 mugs of tea, a belly full of chips and black pudding.
Ready for the day ahead.
Absolutely, ready for any heart attack that's going to come that day. It's literally loaded up with lard and carbs.
Oh my God.
But for me, certainly from a working class background, it's a meet and greet, or has been over the years, a meet and greet thing. Yeah. I've held meetings with 20, 30 blokes over breakfast. It's better than muffins for breakfast.
I think it's the best meal of the day.
Absolutely.
Breakfast is the best
I mean,
I like the hash browns.
Oh yeah, hash browns are so nice.
I take them or leave them. My problem with that is I associate it with fast food and McDonald's.
Oh,
probably.
Right, yeah.
Not that bacon and sausage is any better.
So apparently, last on our list is I quite like this one as well. Is the English sense of humour. Apparently, we have a very specific type of humour.
Yeah, I mean, we might not think that, but having you've travelled, you've clearly travelled, I've travelled, it definitely is specific.
Because no one else is laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can meet an Englishman anywhere and basically offend him, and he'll be in stitches. Our humour does basically revolve around taking the mickey out of ourselves or another person. It's to others would seem offensive, but I think it boils down to your relationship with the person you're talking to.
Yeah, it's quite a very dry sense of humour, isn't it?
It's not that dry. I mean, I think Americans are really dry. We see an American comedy show in Amsterdam and got up and walked out. Yeah, just got up and walked out.
Why is that then?
We hadn't laughed.
Yeah, ironic humour. Yeah. What's your who's your favourite comedian? English comedian?
Ooh, crikey! What stand-up comedians?
Can be stand-up or can be like TV programme or something that you find really funny.
I actually find Jimmy Carr really funny.
Do you?
Yeah. Albeit he can be ultra offensive sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't really generally find the offensive comedians that funny. 20 years ago, it was all offensive comedians. And I went to see Jim Davison one night, and even I walked out and said, "That's a disgrace."
Really?
Yeah.
So offensive.
It really, and for 20 years ago.
Is it? Oh, man.
Yeah, God knows what he's like now. But yeah, I quite like Jimmy Carr. I just like the fact that he stands up and just rolls jokes one after the other.
Very clever, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't, but he remembers them. But then you've got other comedians that do really good shows, like Russell Howard. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
He's
so funny.
He's got his finger on the pulse of the current times. He always highlights something that is wrong and unjust in the world, and makes you aware of that as well. So
I love that.
his show is very well rounded, I think.
Yeah, and is there any sort of TV shows that you like? Do you watch any?
Well, like Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean. Do you watch Mr. Bean?
I watch Mr. Bean, yeah.
Do you?
In the UK, we get a lot of repeated
don't we just?
comedy channels.
Don't we just?
And some of them just aren't funny anymore.
Actually, when we went on a sort of like a holiday this year, went up to Scotland, and we on the TV they kept repeating like programs that you haven't seen in such a long time. Things like Last of the Summer Wine and
yeah, I think that was only ever satire. Again, the laughter was added to that.
Some other ones, I can't even remember the names of them, but they were just so, oh my God, with Sid James. Is it Sid James?
Yeah, Sid James done all of the Carry On films and Bless This House.
Bless This House,
from the
I think
70s.
I was watching. Oh my God.
I don't think we'd get away with saying anything from that
I was just
series.
like, my jaw was like, oh my God, really? You can say that?
In all fairness, it does encapsulate the 70s absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I know. It's a really...
But that's a time conversation,
that
obviously.
Is a time. I can't think about what are funny. I think there's quite a few out there, isn't there? There's quite a lot of.
I think we like watching people hurt themselves. We've always had these candid camera game for a laugh programs on, hidden cameras or just home videotapes. But certainly as I've got older, I've started to wince at them. I mean, I could watch accidents all the time when I was 20, motorbike accidents, all of that, the Jackass from the States, that was fantastic. But now when I see people come off a skateboard or something, I go, I grab for the knee, grab for the part that's hurting.
So your compassion coming out now.
It was bottled up for 40 years. It's now rising up past the kneecaps.
Okay, so apparently, that is just our top 10. So when we did our research, apparently you can look online. There's a lot more English things, and you can have a look and see for yourself. But what we're going to explore now is just a few other things that came up. Is a couple of iconic figures. So English iconic figures. We have to start with number one. What do you think would be number one?
Shall I say it? Is the
lady herself.
The lady herself, yeah. The Queen.
The Queen. We have to mention the Queen.
Not the Freddie Mercury one.
No, not Freddie Mercury. I would love that to be the case. Though. That would be awesome. Yeah, so we have to say the Queen. The Queen is very English. When everyone thinks about England, they think about the Queen. And
she's on your coins, on your money.
Exactly.
Everywhere, on your stamps.
She's everywhere.
Yeah. She really is.
She definitely deserves a mention. This the lovely lady.
Big Liz.
Big Liz. Big Liz. And then we've got number 2, which is one of my absolute favourites, and that is Sir David Attenborough.
Yeah.
He is such a class Englishman, isn't he? He's fantastic. We love him.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's done so much for the BBC, so much for us in general, just raising awareness of animals in danger and
conservation.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been there since the cameras were around. He's been recording since the late 50s. Yeah. It's quite incredible.
He's an amazing...
I think he's as old as the Queen.
Probably so.
No,
probably
I think
so.
he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's very, very elderly now.
Is he? But he's still filming.
Yes, absolutely.
He's still filming
he does
now.
a lot of the, he does a lot of the voiceovers. He did come down this way earlier on this year to the New Forest
Did
to
he?
be. Yeah, the Adgesters took him out into the forest to be filmed with a fungus, a mushroom in the forest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so he did come down and he done a piece to camera in the New Forest with the New Forest Adgesters, and I'm sure that'll be on one of his BBC programmes.
He's doing that new series, isn't he, called Earth? Is it Earth?
I've not
Is
seen
it
that.
named-
Or something with the planets.
Yeah.
The Blue Planet series were just
It's classic, isn't it?
I mean, one of them's got to be 20 years old now, the first one, but I remember buying the DVDs of it, and that's as a young man, 20-ish years old, and that's how moved I was by the pictures and the music put together so well.
It's amazing, isn't it? And the technology just keeps adapting and changing. And
It's the poor cameraman.
yeah, exactly.
They're out there for 6 months of the year trying to catch a spider lift its left leg up. It's quite an undertaking.
It is, it's amazing. So we say David Attenborough is our number 2, and then our number 3 apparently is we've got fictional character. We've got James Bond, Mr. 007 himself.
Absolutely, he's suave.
Yeah, he's so suave, right? He's so British. He's so English.
He's an English brand.
Gentleman.
He's a what?
He's a brand.
He's
you
a
take
brand.
him anywhere around the world now. People
Yeah.
will know who he is. The brand itself is acts as an ambassador to England, and all of it is righteous. Much like many American films, it's righteous. And we always win and end well. But I suppose that's our version of an American war film to a degree, isn't it? We will come through.
So what was who played the last Bond?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, okay. And do we know who the next one is?
Possibly Idris Elba, possibly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure it's either going to be a man of colour or a lady.
Ooh, a lady.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Jumping, leaping.
Okay, moving on. So apparently our number 4 is Mr. Bean. We've got Mr. Bean.
You have to say Mr. Bean, don't you?
Yeah, he's a bit awkward though. I don't think are English people really that awkward.
I think he personifies how potentially other countries see us.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Americans and so on, who are a little bit more bombastic, and they hi all you Americans.
Careful.
And I think that's how they see us: bad teeth,
Yeah,
poor
I know, bad
complexion,
teeth. What is it with the bad
awkward
teeth?
posture, terrible dressing. Unable to communicate in a normal world.
Or function.
Yeah,
Function.
yeah. I mean, that's me before 9 a.m. I admit, but I do get it together.
Mr. Bean.
But yeah, for me, it's everything that we're perceived to be. So again, it's taking the mickey out of ourselves.
Yeah, we love to do that. British people love to take the mickey out of themselves, don't they? And then we've got our last one that we thought was pretty iconic was, we had to mention was Mr. Stephen Hawkins. We think he's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So he made some amazing discoveries to physics and quantum theory and
other things that none of us have got any any meaning or recognition about. We know
don't know
nothing of what he's done. All of this is just words, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Quite long ones, but yeah, the books say he's done a lot.
Yeah, a brief history of time.
Yeah.
And made some amazing discoveries and to science. So
and been married twice while doing all of this.
Yeah.
But I think the sadness is just the illness. And the way it took away his mobility. It's very, very sad, obviously.
Yeah. But we think he's an awesome Englishman, so
Absolutely.
definitely deserves to be in our top 5. So I think that's the before we finish off, I think we can kind of do a little recap, and just maybe you can mention a little bit about your favourite aspects of being English, what you like so much about being English, or
I like the weather.
You like the weather?
I do like the weather.
I like the weather.
I like the weather, I like the place, I like the countryside.
I like to queue.
Yeah, maybe not so much the queuing. The weather and the humour, to me, my whole life revolves around humour. So, to me, it's a big part of who I am. Is to, if I'm not laughing, then there's something really wrong. So, but yeah, I absolutely love the chuckles that we have with other British people. And,
it's fun,
and even better when you're abroad and nobody else gets the joke.
It makes it even more funny, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Janine?
Yeah, similar sense of humour and I don't know, the people as well.
Yeah. I think I like about I agree with you, Steve. Yeah, the British sense of humour is brilliant, and I like the fact that we are such a diverse place, and so many people all coming together, very accepting of lots of different cultures, kind of all like a massive melting pot. And I think it's a really awesome place. And I hope you guys have out there have enjoyed our conversation.
I had a bit of a laugh.
And I had a good old chuckle and a good old laugh. I know I have. And we just want to say thank you so much to Steve for coming to join us today. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, and it's been brilliant. Yeah, thank you so much for enlightening us in English culture.
Okay. If that happened.
So thank you so much for watching us and for joining us today. If you've got any ideas, or you would like to send us your thoughts, then please just send us a message or like our page and join our YouTube channel. There's going to be lots of other amazing topics to come, so please come and join us every weekend on Saturdays. You can also visit our other social media. We have lots of other social media pages you can visit, and Facebook,
Instagram, Twitter.
And lots of other things that you can join us on. So we just want to say thank you so much, and we will see you again next time. Thank you. Bye bye now.